Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. Welcome back. My name is LJ, and today I'm joined by Glenn.
Kia ora, LJ.
Kia ora. And we also have another person in the studio with us.
We do. We've got a special guest today, which is very exciting. And we'll be interviewing Jenny Hill from Intercept Clothing.
Fabric Rescue.
From Intercept Fabric Rescue. So Jenny's, after that very brief introduction to the show, is going to step up into the hot seat, literally. And so welcome, Jenny. Thank you for coming in to do this.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I love talking about what we do at Intercept, and you'll probably have to tell me to shut up and drag me out because I just love talking about it.
Well, you're the type of guest that we love to talk to. Yeah.
That makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure. Perfect. Yeah, and you've never been in the Beagle studio before, but you've been to 116 before, I know, many times.
Oh, yes, Rock the Frock.
Yeah.
What an amazing event that
I've
always is.
I've seen you there.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, so you're here to talk about the Intercept, obviously. So can you just, for people that have never heard of it, give us a bit of a lowdown on what it is, please?
So it's a little upcycling boutique right in the front window of the local Salvation Army family store in Vine Street. And as far as we know, it's the only permanent upcycle boutique in New Zealand. There's lots of sort of pop-up shops and online shops, but this is, whenever the Sallies are open, so are we. And they were wonderful to give us their front space, which is, high volume for them in terms of what they expect to receive from that floor space. So they put their faith in us, and boy, have we delivered. It's just such a brilliant partnership with the Salvation Army. They're lovely people.
Fantastic.
And all the money goes straight back to them and their work in the community.
Yep.
So if you talk about a circular economy, Intercept is a really great example of that working in a very practical and local way.
And so it's Intercept Fabric Rescue, and in the Sallies, like I've been there many times to have a look for cool clothes. But so for people that have never heard about it or seen it, when you walk into the Sallies, you turn left, and then what are you looking at?
We've got 6 racks, all wood and everything, no plastic in the shop at all. So what we're trying to do is have a little point of difference with the rest of the...
You're changing it all the time. As stuff sells, more stuff comes out, right?
Yeah,
From what I can see.
We can't keep up sometimes. We've got a little tiny bit of a logjam at the moment because we just love doing our winter stuff. We're over summer by about February, and we're looking forward to doing the woolies. But I mean, today it's hot again, so people don't want to try on woolens. So we've got lots of amazing jerseys, hand knitted jerseys in there at the moment, and they will sell the next cold snap we get.
Yeah,
but
right.
If you're looking for a new jersey or a beautiful jacket, Intercept is the place to go.
Well, I can vouch for that. So last winter I went with my family, and I got 2 amazing jerseys, and my son got one for down in Dunedin, and I've worn nothing else since. So I forgot to bring my Intercept clothes. I was going to model for you, but I forgot to bring them.
A bit hot today, wouldn't it?
I've got
no,
them.
the shirt that I saw online, that Katie put up online, that you were wearing.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. I couldn't remember.
No, that kind of feedback is just wonderful for us. It gives us such a shot in the arm that there's people out there proud to wear our stuff.
Yeah. Well, what I love personally about it is you get to go in and you've got funky stuff, but it's all diluted. Well, what's the word? It's all gathered together. Right. You're not doing too much trolling. It's really easy.
Yes. So that's one of the things that we can offer people who are looking for good quality second-hand garments, is that it's all there, that we've done all the work for them. Like we've got a team of about 20 odd people who are constantly sorting through the bales. So how it works is that clothing is donated to the Sallies, and all their sorters have to do is say yes, no. And no might be needs work or needs an iron. If it's linen or silk, they can't put it on the hanger because it will look like crap.
Yeah.
So we get all the no's.
Okay.
So our sorters go through the bales and take out the really good quality, the made in New Zealand, the linen, the silk, the cotton, viscose too is good quality. That's a natural product. So they're doing the work for you, and then we make sure that it's ready to go. It's all the buttons are back in place, and yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
This is a great episode
Oh,
for me.
we have a new customer.
Yeah, 100%.
We love our customers. I mean, we had the idea, and when we opened, our hearts were in our mouths because we thought, okay, we've had this idea, but will people actually pay a bit more to buy our stuff? And man, if they come with a resounding yes, and we just every year our sales go up 20%.
So how long has it been going for?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And who started it? Was it yourself? And
Yeah, me and a couple of girls were having a wine one night, and we played the what if game because I'd been bricks that they didn't know what to do with, old curtains, for instance, and they were going at that stage to the dump. No longer. They've found another way of dealing with that kind of thing. But at that stage, it broke my heart. And so at a dinner party, I said to a couple of girlfriends of mine, what if we could rescue that stuff? There's food rescue and there's animal rescue. Why can't we have fabric rescue? So I put it out there, and before I knew it, I had all the zero wasters coming to me. And do you remember something called boomerang bags?
vaguely.
Yeah, so that was before plastic bags got banned.
Yeah.
Because boomerang bags had done their work. Plastic bags had been banned. And so there were all these amazing seamstresses and zero wasters who were looking for a new project. So I got this wonderful flush of people who were totally into the idea. And then the next key thing, the pieces of puzzle going together, was the manager of Salvation Army Whangarei, a guy called Nick. He saw the dollar signs immediately. He's a businessman.
Right.
And I know that they probably thought, oh, these people are crazy idealists, you know. They won't realise just how much work's involved going through these bales, and also that it was a logistic nightmare dealing with the back of the thing and giving us space and blah, blah. But we just kept on keeping on, and eventually, 6 months after that first dinner party, what if, we had a shop.
Wow.
And it just rolled, and it just keeps on rolling. It's
Fantastic.
It's brilliant.
So how many volunteers? It's all volunteers, isn't
Yep.
it? And
Yep.
so how many people are involved with this?
There would be 30 now, and
Wow.
they come and go, but we're getting really good seamstresses now. Everyone wants to be involved with something that's a success,
Yeah.
and we had to wait a little while to prove that we were a success, that we weren't dreamers, that we could deliver, that it would be something that would be ongoing. So now the word's out. If you are a great seamstress and you're looking for work, come to us, because the fabrics that we get to work with and the clothing that we get to work with is a joy. That's
nice.
why I'm there, because I love fabrics and clothing. Yeah.
So have you always been into
Yep.
sewing, and
Yep.
how did that start for you, that interest?
My granny, my mum, my aunties, all seamstresses. In those days, depression and all that, you had to sew the clothes. You couldn't afford to buy ready-made. And mum was also an Air Force officer's wife. So part of her job was to look glamorous.
Right.
And she did. And so she made all her own ball gowns. And so I have childhood memories of Mum on the living room floor cutting out. And I was fascinated by the whole thing of creating this beautiful woman from a piece of fabric that you've bought, like the whole metamorphosis. I mean, that's what Rock the Frock's about, isn't it? The metamorphosis of, say, a bloke wearing a beautiful gown.
Yeah.
You can be somebody else for the night,
True,
and that's the art of dressing, and that's what I love. I love presenting clothes that will make people say, "Ooh, I could feel this way," or I could be that person if I wore this particular outfit.
That's really interesting. I know the Rock the Frock, if you're not aware of. So it's a Beagle Radio fundraiser. It happens every couple of years, and people sell tickets, packs out here. It's music, but it's really mostly about the dressing up, would you say, in frocks and whatever? Definitely,
it's about the dressing up. It's about persona. You can be whoever you want that night. So people are quite hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's some elaborate costumes.
Yes.
I remember last year on the week before the Rock the Frock, we were in the Sally Army shop, and there was just about everyone. Well, not everyone. A lot of people there were also looking for frocks, despite the fact we knew it was coming months in advance. The week before, people were scrambling around.
I saved some and your
Yes,
wife
you
bought
did,
a
yes.
beautiful sequin blue dress.
That's right.
That I was going to wear, but she looked a lot better in it. And in the meantime, I'd found this incredibly funky 60s dress that I liked more. But we collaborated for that event, and then we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's coming up this year or not. You
Must
be.
Year.
I can't remember.
I can't remember neither. Neither can I.
We'll consult our producer. So, are you looking for more volunteers to help out?
Always, yes.
Yeah. And so, what skills are you looking for in particular?
They need to know their fabrics, their brands. They need to sew. They don't necessarily need to sew. They need to have a love of saving things from going to the dump. Although that doesn't happen very much at all. We're very proud to say that the local Salvation Army shop is the lowest dumping one in New Zealand. Yeah, they're really come on board with the whole zero waste thing of keeping it in the community, keeping it going, not wasting anything. So that's going to become a bigger and bigger, mission for all retail, all manufacturing. It's going to be, in France it's law now that you can't just, at the end of your run, if anything doesn't sell, you can't just chop it up and send it to the dump. You've got to keep it in circulation. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and the other amazing thing that's going to happen, and this is again timing, that we came in at the right time, is that it seems that in about 4 years now, second-hand is going to overtake new. So people are seeing that, okay, they might be cash-strapped, but that doesn't mean they can't look really flash if that's the kind of look they want, or they can look any way they want. They don't have to go and spend big money on high street clothing, which is, when you go shopping, don't you think it's boring?
Well, I was going to ask you, what's your opinion on the whole sort of fashion industry? Because you're sort of picking up the discarded stuff, aren't you? But
Yes.
is it a flawed kind of a system, the way, because it's all like seasons, sometimes seasons within seasons. It's just about consuming, isn't it?
Yes. So when I grew up in the 60s, which was the best time in the human
Right, sure. We'll take your word for
history
it.
of fashion to be
true.
growing up, there was a look. There was the look, Mary Quant or whatever. But now I think fashion is becoming whatever you feel good in is good enough, is great, You don't have to
Yeah, you don't have to impress us, Glenn.
You don't.
I try. Often fail, right?
So that's great for secondhand because that allows people to then not spend a lot of money on trying out a new look. You know what I mean? For instance, I think everybody's wardrobes should be different feelings. Like they might wake up one day and say, I feel really, really low, and today I just want to wear something really grey and don't look at me-ish, and you've got that there. Another day you might wake up and you think, hell, I feel really on top today. I want to wear bright colours and I want to look sassy and and you should have that outfit in your wardrobe as well. So that's what I find wrong about high street fashion, is that it is very safe and it's usually very badly made unless you want to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It won't last very long. Give it a couple of washes and it'll look all saggy and baggy. So that's why Intercept is such good value, because we've already done the preening out of all the rubbish. The stuff that we sell is good quality. You're wearing a Volcom t-shirt there, so Volcom is a very good surf brand.
Is
so
it?
we sell
There you go.
so we sell Volcom knowing that they're not going to make something crappy with their name on it because they're trying to protect their brand. Okay? So that's where branding and knowing your brands comes in, because we know that Volcom is good quality. We know that, like the other day, I got this beautiful pair of Gucci jeans in, and some bloke, probably, looked like a bloke's work, he'd ripped the back pocket right open. So these were jeans, like denim, and he'd taken white cotton, double, and done these huge stitches all through the bum that had made it pucker. So okay, that's not a very good job I've done, so I'll get rid of these now.
Wow.
Took me 20 minutes to unpick them. He had just thought, oh, if I just keep on sewing, it will get better, but no, it got worse.
Sounds like
So,
me should have done a whole.
Yeah, so I did a really invisible mend on it, and they looked like $1 million, and they
Wow.
got snapped up as soon as I put
bet.
them on the shelf. Yeah, so mending and learning how to mend is something that should be taught at school.
And is it being taught these days, do you think?
Not sure. I know that Eco Solutions has make and mend workshops, and they're great. It's just this thing about no time. I've got no time to put on a button. But when you think of, you've thrown out this beautiful shirt because it's missing a button, usually at the tummy, then you've got to replace it with maybe an $80 shirt or something like that. Surely it was worth $80 for you to sit down and learn how to thread a needle and put a button on. I mean,
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
What, one thing I've noticed with my second-hand shirts, maybe the Intercept ones, they actually last better than a new. I could buy a second-hand shirt, and a new shirt won't last as long, actually looking good, as my second-hand old shirt, which presumably has been washed 100 times or whatever already.
Yes.
So
that's-
is that when you say quality, what does that mean?
So it's the fabric. So when you're going to buy something, doesn't matter if it's secondhand or new, always look at the little tag inside. See this one here? So that's Country Road, and it says 100% cotton. So that's really important, because cotton won't pill or sag or bag if you look after it. You also need to know how to wash and dry. So that's the difference, is the quality of the cotton, and also the quality of the sewing.
Right.
So, of course, made in China, may not be as well sewn. But say Volcom, if they're made in China, they will make sure that the factory over there knows how to sew their stuff properly, you know.
Right.
But if it's Kmart or Temu, God, they don't have. They just get it out there and
Quickly
people,
as possible.
yeah. And if they only people are only
Horrible
paying,
labour practices.
yes. So if people are only paying a few bucks for something, they don't expect it to last for very long, and that's the disposable garment industry that is so immoral. That has got to stop.
It's very cyclical. I was some LJ law. Pre being a librarian, I was a visual merchandiser for a long time in retail, and yeah, that was part of what I really struggled with, is that I just felt like, as much as I was good at my job and I enjoyed my job, it was this whole thing of just watching people, like, you know, regular customers that came back season after season that had already bought all the same stuff last season, and it was just that push of that consumer, oh, but this is a new thing, this is a new thing.
Yes.
And it's like, it's pretty much the same. I mean, a lot of our staple stuff was similar to the old seasons. It was just that feeling of, oh, I've got to have new.
Yeah, so that is actually a syndrome. There are some women who, when they go out, oh, I can't wear that because people saw me wear that last time I went out, so I have to have new. And it's like, I'm worth it. You know, if I can't have new clothes all the time, it means that I'm not as good as a person who can have new clothes all the time. And then you've got shopaholics, you know, who've got wardrobes full of stuff they've never worn, but it's just the thrill of going to the till, forking out the money, and it just gives you this feeling of power and control over your lives. But at what flippin' expense, you know, not only personally, but globally and environmentally. I tend to think that we need to redirect our emotions around clothes. For instance, every winter, just at the moment, I'm getting out my winter clothes, and they're like old friends. Things jerseys that I've worn. One I've got for 40 years. I've had it for 40 years, and I just keep mending it because it's just so beautiful. And every time I wear it, I feel great. So
I've got a Ralph Lauren jumper that I found in a second-hand shop on Karangahape Road when I was, I don't know, 18, 19, like 12 years ago. Every time I wear it, Mum says, I can't believe it's still going. And it is, but it's good quality fabric.
Exactly.
Like what you were just talking about.
Exactly.
And I just, I love it. I'll never get rid of it.
It's that old-fashioned thing of save up for the best thing you can afford, and don't, you know, wait until you can afford that best thing and then look after it for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So we need some kind of mind shift.
Definitely around clothing. It's a moral thing, you know. You can advertise the fact that you're a zero waster or you care about the environment by what you wear. You know, if you're wearing something that's vintage, if you're wearing something that's obviously been patched, or just it's funky, it's obviously not high street, people haven't seen that before, then you can advertise to everybody as you're walking around the street, these are my values. And that's very powerful. It's like sign writing. And sometimes I do sign write garments. I'll put on the back of a denim jacket something like cut out of a T-shirt,
Right.
Save the planet, or there's no planet B, or mend more.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, so you're a creative person, is it a creative feeling doing this work?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm taking something that looks like nothing on earth usually.
Yeah.
For instance, at the moment, a very good quality black woolen coat made in New Zealand, and the person has got a white dog and they love cuddling that white dog. And so I have to spend sometimes an hour getting all the hair off this beautiful jacket. And when I bring it back to its original, or as good as I can, its original state, I get a fantastic charge. You know, I feel like I've rescued this jacket and honoured all the wool that was in it, all the sheep that grew the wool, the people who drafted the pattern, who made it, the person who used to own it. I've honoured all that history that garment embodies, and I've brought it back to life. And that's not particularly creative, but it's definitely satisfying. There's other things I do that are really creative, like upcycling a dirty denim jacket that's had a dog rip out its sleeve. I might take the second half of the sleeve that's been dog chewed, and put another piece of fabric on it, or so you can. How we see damaged clothing is an opportunity to upcycle it and turn it into a unique garment.
I know one of the jerseys I got, I thought they were leather patches, but someone said, but they're all, if it's leather patches, they're all in the same place. Like it's too symmetrical. And I think it's just their adornments almost, like someone's put little brown lapels or something on it. I don't know.
That sounds like Anne Fraser's work. She just loves working with jerseys and bits of leather and bits of felt.
Well, it must be Anne Fraser.
Yeah. The other thing is stains. So, like, if you're going to get a stain, it will be down the front. And so sometimes we get a really great garment that's got a stain that won't come out, and it's right in the centre of the front, and I say, Eureka! Because then you can put something over it and make the garment look even better.
Awesome. So that's very creative then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So call out for volunteers then? Anyone wanting to get involved?
Yeah.
How would they get in touch?
First of all, come into the shop and have a look at what we do, and see if you like it, and see if you can imagine your stuff there, or you can imagine being part of that kaupapa. Then you can ask to see me. We've got a website, interceptfabricrescue.net. We've got a Facebook page. Joining the Facebook pages, we've got almost 2,000 people now as followers. So if you join up, that's perhaps your first thing to do, or give me a call.
Okay. Sounds like a fun thing to be involved with if you're into
love clothing.
Yeah,
if you love fabrics, if you can sew, And
if you don't like, or if you can't sew, or you can always go to the Salvation Army shop on Vine Street, turn a left just inside and check out the racks, and you'll be fighting LJ off there.
Yeah, which we'll be doing.
Hey, now we were talking. Why are you on the radio show, Jenny? And of course, we do have quite a few books in the library about the very thing that you do with Intercept, which is upcycling, recycling. So we've got a couple of little books here. So if people are interested, we do have books about. We've got one here called Mending Matters. Sounds like you could have written that book. Creative Mending.
Creative Mending, and then there was one that I catalogued recently. But it's checked out at the moment, but it's called Visible Mending, Repair, Renew, Reuse the Clothes You Love by Aruna Kunaraj. But yeah, I remember when I catalogued it, I was like, oh, this looks really good. But 646.6 is the Dewey Decimal number that you want to be looking for.
Have you ever spent much time browsing that section? Would you ever look at that, Jenny, when you go to the library? What would bring you to the library?
I haven't actually gone to that section because I've already got
I've
got quite a lot of information. But I love the library. It's almost as good as Intercept in that.
Almost as good.
Somebody had an idea a long time ago. Let's get a whole collection of books that people can borrow. They don't have to buy. And it's proved quite good, hasn't it, over the centuries?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the library. I particularly love our library. It's a gorgeous building. I love being in it. and I go once a week.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recognised you when you walked in.
Well, I know
Who's this
Jenny, but I haven't seen
mysterious
you. We don't
Jenny?
bump into each other very much at the
You
library.
out the back beaving away.
I must be beavering away out the back.
Yes.
No, I'm an avid reader. I love reading.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today
Yeah, thank
to
you.
talk. Have you got any more questions?
I don't think
LJ?
so, but I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it could be sewing machines coming soon. Watch this space.
Yeah, well, we are talking
Can we
about
say that?
having like
Are we
a
allowed?
sewing machine at the library in some capacity for people to use, because not everyone has access to sewing machines. And other libraries have been doing this sort of, and lending out tools and sewing machines or so that's we do have one, but we haven't quite got it out and
Yeah, it's a work
ready for
in
use.
progress.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would say sometime this year.
Sewing machines are actually a really complicated machine, and you really have to know how to use one, or you'll just end up tearing your hair out, and anybody who's trying to help will tear their hair out because the bobbin keeps on getting jammed up and they can't thread the needle. So you might have to have a little message on there. Please don't use this unless you know how to.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get around that.
No, we need to do some more research and find out how
How
other
other people
libraries
do it, yeah.
are managing this.
Yeah, whether they've got somebody on hand all the time to unravel the bobbin for people, or
Yeah.
just teach them how to sew. I don't know.
Potential for a class.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a tricky thing teaching someone how to use a sewing machine. I've found.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tear your hair out type stuff.
Right. Oh well, that's made us feel really good about this, Jenny. I'm sure we'll figure something out. What do you do when you're not doing this, Jenny? When you're not,
I read books.
when you're not reading, are you a painter as well?
No.
You're not a painter.
I used to paint fabrics.
Oh, okay.
I used to make clothing and upholstery from fabric that I'd printed, painted, dyed. Yeah, I did that for 20 years or so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you'd somehow colour the fabric or whatever, paint it, and then cut it out into all the patterns.
Yeah, cut it, make it into clothing or cushion covers or things like that. But then I had the business of trying to sell it and trying to get a decent wage out of, because it's very labour intensive making clothing. And I had about 5 years ago, I thought, well, am I going to keep going with making clothing? Am I going to keep making new clothing, and then I'm kind of like having to charge a lot and only rich people can afford it and all that kind of thing? And I thought, nah, I think what I want to do now is rescue beautiful clothing that is already in existence. You know, like they say that the human beings have produced enough clothes to last them for 50 years.
Oh, really? Well, all the humans?
Yeah, all the humans could be clothed for 50 years with just the clothing that is in existence today.
That's a great stat.
Yeah,
that's a
so
fun
we
fact.
don't need to make new stuff.
No.
We just need to look after the old stuff, especially if it's very old, like vintage is my real love, because it is so beautifully made and the fabrics are so well made, and when you go to the 60s and the 70s, the fabric designs are absolutely out of this world. So
I remember, so this is when I was at uni, so in the 90s, there was 60s and 70s clothes everywhere. Just the op shops were full of them, and now they don't appear as often, do they?
So that's treasure, and every now and again we will get treasure in our intercept sorting rooms where sometimes it's a lovely old lady who's kept all her clothes for her whole lifetime, and we'll get an old scumbled up suitcase that's full of treasure. And that's what we live for. That's what I live for, basically, is discovering that stuff and then washing it and seeing how it's made and representing it and putting it on the vintage rack. And I tell you, it's it's better than anything else that I can think of in terms of satisfaction.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
I told you you'd have trouble shutting me up.
No, that's good. Thank you, Jenny. While we've been talking, have you had a chance to think of a
Something
song?
Something Spanish.
Spanish. What, a bit of classical music, maybe, or?
No, it's maybe something a bit more fun. I'm trying to think. Modern Spanish. The Gypsy Kings. Now, I've partied to the Gypsy Kings back in the day.
Okay.
So maybe something from the Gypsy Kings.
All right. We've got a couple of choices here. The Gypsy Kings. This one's come at the top of the list. Oh, this one here. This has got a lot of views.
Has it?
Yeah.
I don't really like Bombaleo.
Well, let's not play that one. What about this one? This one's called Valeria.
Oh, Volare.
Volare.
You'll know that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
Was that one?
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of that one before too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for taking the
thank
time to
you.
come in and talk to us on the shelf. It's been wonderful hearing about that.
And I'll see you in the library, guys.
Yeah, see you in the library.
And you'll see.
And I'll see you at Interfit.
I don't work there every day.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes I just go in when I feel like it to
Fair enough.
restack the shelves. But you never know. We might.
Yes.
We might.
You
see
sound
each
like
other.
us restacking the shelves. You could be a librarian.
I did work at the library for a while.
Did you know?
Yes, but I didn't really.
Didn't work out. You've ended up doing clothing instead. All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you again, Jenny. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in. All right.
Thanks for the
This song is Gypsy Kings and Volare. All right, that was Gypsy Kings and the song's called Whangarei, as requested by Jenny Hill from the Intercept Fabric Rescue place, which was a lot of fun talking to Jenny.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hey, so you're listening to The Shelf. Thanks for joining us. You're with me, Glenn, and LJ.
Hello.
And LJ, for this next segment, we're going to talk about some music biographies, of which we've got a lot at the library. If you ever want to check them out, they're upstairs. Range of different...
786 point something rather.
Oh, yes. You're going all Dewey Decimal on me there. So upstairs... My
cataloguing jumped out.
I would have thought 782 point something. But
I think that's music scores. Anyway, you've got one there.
I've got one there.
Oh, 782. Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, what do I know? I don't catalogue books like you do.
Don't strip me of my badge.
So, what concert did you see last week?
Me and my dad went to Live and Incubus at the Trust Arena in Auckland, which was really cool because my dad used to play guitar. He used to play a lot of live songs when I was a teenager, and it was quite a bonding thing for us, and so it was nice to be able to go together. And there was a lot of actually, I say parents and kids, like kids my age, so in their 30s, together. So that was cool. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I love a good concert.
Did both bands put on a good show?
Yeah, well, they both headlined, so they both did a full set. So yeah, Live went first, and then Incubus went second. So they both did a full set. I'm not as big of a fan of Incubus, but I think it was still a good show.
Was it pretty rocking?
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't
kind of quite rocking.
I wasn't right up the front. I'm a kind of midway sort of person. I don't like to be right in the crush of everything.
But you don't want to be down the back either.
No.
I've never thought of that before, dividing up the room at a concert between, I'm actually a hang at the back kind of guy.
Well, my dad is a stand near the sound desk kind of guy.
Best sound in the house.
Yeah, well, because they are, he reckons, has previously, having done sound tech stuff before, that, they're doing all their whatever they do from where they're standing in the room. So his theory is that if you stand near the sound desk, which was about halfway at the Trust Arena, you're going to get as good as the sound is going to get. So I don't know if there's anything to that, but that's what.
Hey, your dad said it, so it must be right.
Yeah, it must be true.
All right. So based on the fact you went to the concert, we talked that maybe we should recommend each other some music biographies.
Yeah.
Is what we agreed upon.
It was what we agreed upon. So you go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just pulling up a couple. There's like I said, there's a lot of good ones. I've actually read an embarrassing number of them.
Yeah, well, I would think that you would be
I am interested in them. But it's kind of, for me, actually, it's a little bit like light reading. I imagine it's what people would do for, like, romance books. To me, I just find them comforting.
That's really interesting, because I'm a huge music fan. Like, my Spotify minutes go crazy during the Spotify Wrap, but I would say it's probably like my least read kind of, not because I read a lot of non-fiction. I don't read a lot of them, so I'm interested in these recommendations, because it's an area I feel like I'm pretty sparse on. Okay,
well, I've just grabbed a couple here, so there are more.
Pressure.
Yeah, I know. I felt the pressure, and I'm feeling the pressure too, and I feel a strange pressure to perform at this. Like, what if I give you something that you're not think's cool? Anyway, who cares?
It's okay.
The first one is Dead People I've Known by Shane Carter.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who Shane Carter is.
I don't, not by name. Not
okay, well, Shane Carter was, he's still performing. He's in New Zealand.
Yeah. I can see that it's won an Ockham Book Award.
It did win an award. It's well written.
So you're
not all biographies I've discovered are actually very well written.
I think that's my thing. Is I prefer an autobiography rather than.
Well,
a
this
biography.
Actually is an autobiography. This is him written. Yeah,
you've nailed it, Clean.
But some of them get a bit kind of waffly.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in the band or a number of bands. Kind of involved in the Flying Nun Dunedin scene.
Yes, I've heard you talk about this before.
Board Games was his first band, I think, in high school. Then the Double Happies, the Straight Jacket Fits, probably the most famous band, although dimmer, and now he performs all those mixture of those songs as himself.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend that.
Okay.
It's a really well written book. He came from an interesting background. He's just an interesting guy. He is kind of like I feel like a kind of a bit of a rock star. When I've seen him perform, he does have something about him when he performs that you're like, that is really good.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, that's a good one. Now this one, that's like a known person. This book here is called The Girl in the Back, A Female Drummer's Life with Bowie, Blondie, and the 70s Rock Scene. I don't know what possessed me to pick this up because it's got nothing that I know anything about, but what an awesome... But
you just sensed that I really like Bowie and Blondie.
Oh no, I've read this. I didn't know you. I didn't know you liked Bowie and Blondie. But what an awesome book this is. So this is an autobiography. She was really young, going out in New York. She lived in New York. Maybe her parents had split. She was at home with her dad in a loft, and her dad she had no kind of parental controls, and so she was just out in the nightlife at age sort of 16, got into a punk band, was performing at CBGB's, which is the famous punk club in New York.
Yes, you do.
Ends up going out with the keyboardist from Blondie, touring the world with Blondie as like a girlfriend of the band. It all goes to complete custard in the finish. But what an incredible story about like a coming of age kind of story. It's called Music. She meets Bowie. She's hanging out with Deborah Harry. It's like unbelievable. and she's not even 20.
That is crazy.
Full of cool photos. So yeah, highly recommend that one.
Okay, that sounds good. I feel like I would enjoy that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I went off book. From our original.
Why does that not surprise me that you'd go off book?
Mostly because, like I said, I don't really read music biographies that much, and I know that you do, and so I was like, this is going to be very difficult. So what I have done is, because I feel like you're recommending me something from a section I don't normally read, so I went in the direction of I will recommend you something that you don't usually read. Okay. So I've spun off, but stay with me. So the first one, surprise, surprise, it's library related, but it's interesting. It's called The Library Book by Susan Orlean. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
No.
I read it in 2019, according to my notes here. And I know that it got quite a lot of press like around that time. But it is a true crime, but not in the sense of like what I would usually think of with true crime is like slashing and serial killing and stuff, but it's not a true crime in that sense. It's about the 1986 fire at the Los Angeles Public Library, but it's kind of interwoven with the investigation and the history of the library and the history of the librarians, and you don't, spoiler alert, you don't get like a sort of satisfying conclusion on what actually caused the fire, but you do get a really incredible story on like the evolution of libraries across America and around the world, all sort of interwoven together.
Okay.
It's just trust me, it is interesting, and we do have a copy of it. I checked.
So what was that one called? The
Library Book by Susan Orlean. She's an investigative journalist, so it's really like compellingly written. And then the other one, again, sort of in the true crime genre, but not true crime in the traditional sense. Have you heard of Theranos?
No.
Or did you hear of that? It was a big scandal a few years ago. So there was this chick, Elizabeth Holmes, and she started this corporate startup in the the Silicon Valley boom, and she was like pegged as the next Steve Jobs, and she like stylized herself with like the black turtleneck and everything, and she was basically, her company was like, we've got this amazing technology to way of taking blood, and it's just going to be like a pinprick in the finger, and you can pick up all these different things, and you don't even have to do a traditional blood test. And it went on for ages. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's a crazy story. Like, I read it a few years ago, and I don't know, it's one of those things, I don't know what, a bit like your drama book, I don't know what compelled me to pick it up. It's not something I would normally be that interested in, but I just couldn't put it down. The guy that wrote it, it's called Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou, and I think he worked for the Wall Street Journal. Don't quote me on that. He worked for some kind of a news organization anyway, and he did a bunch of again, investigative journalism, and eventually, like, you know, she did end up getting caught and going to court and going through this court case. But the story is just like crazy. Like, you just like, I can't believe that this went on for so long. You know, there's like millions of dollars involved, and like some really big names like kind of involved with this company, and it's just a farce. Like, it's not even, it was never really, like, the technology that they were purporting to have was never actually able to do any of what they were saying that it could do. That
does ring a bell now.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Okay.
So, not music biographies, but a challenge to you to read something that's not a music biography.
You're indeed correct that they're not music biographies. But how did you know that I don't really gravitate towards true crime?
I think that we've had this conversation in the lunchroom.
Oh, okay. I don't recall that either, but that's interesting. Okay, well, I will gladly give those a go. Run through the title and author of those again.
Okay, so library book by Susan Orlean, and Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou.
All right, and the ones I had, I forgot to say the author of one of them. There was The Girl in the Back by Laura Davis Channon, and Dead People I've Known by Shane Carter.
Beautiful. Okay.
Well, I think
I have to put them on my ever-growing list.
Do you use the catalogue to request books and then?
Well, I do, but I use Storygraph to track my reading.
Storygraph? Is it like it says? Is it some sort of graph?
It does. Yeah, it does give you little statistical things. It's a very good alternative to the Amazon-owned Goodreads. That's my little plug for Storygraph. But there's 683 books on my to-read list currently. List. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've got 2 on my list, which would be your 2 recs.
Yeah, great.
Hey, well, I see. Well, we're heading up to the end of the hour, and I thought it is school holidays coming up.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yes,
and we always have activities in the library. So yesterday I spoke to our teens librarian and children's librarian about what's coming up in the holidays. So I think we'll play that little interview, and let's go and listen to that. Right, I'm here at the library with Mrs. Kite, the children's librarian, and Milani, the teens librarian. Kia ora to you both.
Kia ora.
And coming up next week is the school holidays, which is always an exciting time in the library. So I'm just here to get the lowdown on what's happening at both of your programs. So starting with you, Mrs. Kite, what can we expect from the children's holiday program for the holidays?
Well, we are doing everything cute. If it's cute, we're making it. If you're cute, you should come. It's going to be fun. We're going to have stories, we're going to have crafts, there may be some prizes. It's going to be a good time. So that'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the first week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday of the second week, because the Thursday is Anzac Day. 10 o'clock, come with an adult, come with a good attitude, come to be creative.
Awesome. So creative fun. And how much does it cost to come along?
It is free.
Yeah, we like
free.
We like free. Oh, that sounds like fun happening in the children's room. That's always a good time. And what about, Milani, what's happening for teens?
Yes, so we're having our usual teen breakfast club. So it's going from 9:30 till 12. There will be snacks. I repeat, there will be snacks. Good. And we are doing upcycling things. So anything that you can find at home, you can do at home, but you'll see what you can do with that at the library. We'll be upcycling things like tin cans into wind chimes and things like that. So it'll be heaps of fun, and it is also absolutely free.
Yay! You don't even have to pay for the snacks. How cool is that? And what sort of age groups for teens? What
If
Yep.
you're an adult with teenagers at home, what ages are we talking?
Yep, so we welcome anyone between the ages of 10 till 17
Yep.
for this program. So it takes lots of different skill sets, but it should be fun.
Cool. What about you, Mrs. Kite? What children?
So from 5 till 10.
Yep.
And I know that you all can do drawing and cutting by yourselves, so you don't need your adult to be doing that for you.
Cool. All right. Now, before you go, I've asked you, what can you recommend a cool book that might be attractive to some children, Mrs. Kite? What have you
Yeah,
got?
so just on Friday, I had a girl come in, and she is a year 5, but she wanted to get more sort of teenagery books, but she's not old enough to go into the teen section really yet. So an author that's been around for a really long time is Kathy Cassidy, and she has a whole lot of books, a big series, The Chocolate Box Girls. This one here that I have is called Cocoa Caramel, and it's about a girl who goes on holiday, and she discovers that there's been a mystery around a pony in the area. There's also a boy crush. It's all going on. So I hear lots of good feedback of those ones.
All right. So the author is Kathy Cassidy, and the series is The Chocolate Box Girls.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Kite. Milady, what have you got that would be good for teens right now?
Yeah, well, there's a new book called Wall to Wall, Mural Art Around the World. And it's a new book, and I was walking around town the other day and I saw all these fabulous murals hiding around on different buildings, and this book came out and I thought, let's check it out. And it is very interesting if you ever wanted to learn about all those wall art, like say from the Vikings saying Orloff was here all the way back several hundred years ago. Then this book talks about that and all the wall art around the world from ancient times to now.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah,
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and that is by Mary Ann Fraser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you both. Let's
You're
have.
welcome.
Shall we have a big whoop whoop, a team whoop whoop for the upcoming holidays? You ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoop whoop.
All right, you're back on the shelf. That was Mrs. Kite and Milani talking about school holiday fun coming up.
Awesome.
And
Right.
it brings us to the end of the
Yeah.
show.
I've got a song to play us out on. If you're new here, I gave myself a challenge when I first started that I would play at least one book-related song. This one's kind of a stretch. It's from the new Peacemaker series, which is based on the DC comics. So this is the theme song they're using for the show. So it's Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam. And we will see you back here on the 24th of April. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. And as always, you can check out our podcasts on the Beagle Radio website,
YouTube,
Whangarei Libraries,
Facebook, Instagram.
all over the show.
We're there.
Yeah. Or even if you're driving on 88.1 FM,
Yeah,
listen to Beagle.
amazing. As long as you're in radius of the...
That's
Okay.
right. All right. See you next time. This is Wigwam.
Make a move extreme. Shortcut to your dreams. Float straight to the stars on a flying thing. Getting high. Getting snow blinding. Set go. Pikachu, Chickapoo in the world beyond. Got a beat, got a heat on a phone. It's tear your world apart. Once the magic starts. Do you really wanna taste it? What's going on must come down. Baby, you're losing ground. You soon become the mirror. The whole is wrong, but you losing with your blinkers on. Throw your gun, the invisible bone. Say I do, and put jet in gear, anything to get you out of here. Gotta go hit that ride to the setting sun.